Hello and welcome back to the LEC Spring Split. I'm your host, Alex Machine Richardson. Still got myself amazing and Vedius hanging out here at my comfort zone. My legs are hidden and we're ready to talk about some League. Guys, first things first, that was an incredible game of League, but I'm a little confused. You know, you spent the first 3 days going like G2 are really good, G2 amazing, safe prediction. I'm now 0-1. I look like a fool.
That's true.
What happened?
So coming into today, one of the things we were talking about was what kind of G2 would show up. Maybe they would try some new stuff. Maybe they would try hard for the rest because they have locked in top 2. But honestly, what I saw was just clear disrespect against their opponents. I absolutely hated their draft. I felt like they had no easy way to win this game at all other than outplay their opponents. And I thought that it was pretty horrible League of Legends. So
okay, well, in a different path, as Vedius calls down, your Kia player of the game was Kobe. 72% of you guys had the votes for him. And I mean, his performance was severe. Thank you. I'm here all week. Thank you very much.
It certainly was.
But I mean, he definitely had Perk's number. Like every team fight, I saw him dishing out so much more damage than his counterpart. But that's like, I guess, the difference between late game AD carry and like an early game AD carry. You know, so Kobe versus Perks. Yeah, we saw it.
We certainly did, and he sold his boots at one point. That's how bloodthirsty that man was. But we should move on to Schalke 04, who started their year with a bang, but have since fallen from grace with the worst record of all teams in the second round robin. It's a cliche question, but it's happening. What happened?
Well, as you can see on the board behind us, they actually had a fantastic first half of the split, going 7-2. And recently, they're currently sitting at 0-5. Unfortunately, we had Amazing on the desk last week, who told us all about how, at the beginning of the split, they had a very good insight into what was strong. It felt like they were ahead of a lot of the teams in the meta. But throughout the split, to me, it doesn't feel like that they've been able to improve as much, while the rest of the teams have dramatically caught up.
So are we attributing almost all of this to what's his name? Dylan Falco, strat book from Worlds, coming in with a big Fnatic logo on it. He rips it off. It's stacked, and they look good for the start.
Yeah,
that's it.
Partially, but it's also like the players really synergized well with the playstyle that he tried to achieve, right? So in the beginning of the split, it was like basically 1-3 meta only. You basically just played for silence all the time, and that was basically the words meta. Now it shifted a bit, and it's not just the words meta anymore, but you have to take the extra step towards players, which is now basically a team fight comp, which we just saw out of Splice, where they basically try to hard engage as much as possible and try to team fight. Right. And those are the tools we haven't seen out of Schalke yet. And I think this week, especially due to obviously me observing some of the practice, I've seen them like try to kind of create that style for them and hone themselves to what they think is the player form they need to be in.
Yeah. Now, of course, you know Schalke much better than I. Is this something you think they're capable of, turning it around after what has been a string?
Hard to say no here.
I just threw you under the bus. Yes, Alex. Yes, they'll do amazing.
I honestly do think so, because all of the players do have the experience coming in. I'm honestly upset because he had that experience from last year's summer. We actually stood in the finals and we played the similar playstyle that now, for example, Spice just played. I think they all have the experience and it just needs someone to step up and guide them. And I think Upset is going to be the man to do that.
Okay, so eyes on Upset. Vedius, anything to add to that kind of list of crossing your fingers and toes for Schalke?
So originally what we were going to do is look at one of their comps that they used during the earlier parts of the split, because I felt that it was a really strong indication of what they were very good at, and it highlights a lot of what Amazing was saying as well. But a lot of having spoken to Amazing, my perception has shifted a little more, because back in the first half of the split, you can see Playmaker for IgNar, Memento on an Engage, 2 solo laners, and this really reinforces what Amazing was saying, which is playing the 1-3-1 style, splitting up the map, having your jungle and support roam a lot, and basically leaving your AD carry to be independent. I feel like this is what helped them achieve such success in the first half of the split, but I feel like we're going to see a pretty big shift now. We're going to see more of these late game carries coming out from Upset. We're going to see IgNar play much more towards his lane, and I'd like to see them play a lot more around their superstar Upset in the bot lane.
And we don't have much time, Amazing, but I want to read a quote to you from Caedral from exceL, because they're trying to play spoiler here. And he went on record in an interview saying, "We're struggling with synergy and general team issues. Some of it's hard to talk about, lots of disagreements. It doesn't feel like we're on the same page." Now, is it safe to assume that every team has experiences like that?
For sure. Actually, there are rare occasions where a team basically synergizes from the very get-go and has no issues whatsoever. But honestly, these teams do not make it far. You need to have disagreements. You need to have like those clashes in the team to actually improve, because otherwise you just have a yes man on every side and you get nowhere with it, you know? So I do think it's actually important every team has been going through it.
Yeah, I mean, it's 5 human beings. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. I mean, these guys hate me already. But anyway, for more on the struggling Schalke, let's see what their coach has to say going into week 8.
Thank you, Machine. Now, Dylan, thank you so much for joining me. We've got to talk about the fact that Schalke had such a great start in the first half of the split, but the past few weeks, not so great. So I just need to ask, when did the LEC stage stop feeling like home?
I think all throughout our loss streak, we have felt that we're a stronger team than the stage results. And to be honest, it's been a bit frustrating for us. I think we come into every week thinking, okay, we're still a good team. We still have great scrim results and had a great first half. And this will be the week we bring it back. But it kind of hasn't happened. I think we have taken a lot of time and effort into strategies that are kind of hard to execute and rely a lot of like individual prowess when I think we're just a better team teamwork-wise. So we're just having a focus on some easier to execute strategies for the rest of the split to just beat some of the lower teams in the standings.
So let's focus on being on individuals and more as a team. So what is that key focus? What's bringing these guys back together?
I think we're just going to try and play to our strengths. I don't want to get into it too much for strategy reasons.
I understand.
But we obviously have like a very strong bot lane. We look to enable them. I think that like Odo's been playing extremely well and winning matchups is something we look to as well. And then our support jungle have been moving together as well. Good, at least through the early half of the split.
And what about exceL today? Because this is a team that's also struggling with their confidence. But the thing is, they're not making it through to playoffs. They know that, so they have nothing to lose. How are you going to win this match?
Yeah, it's always kind of a bit scary playing against teams where they're already eliminated because they really have nothing stopping them from doing something very cheesy or very unexpected. That being said, I think we're just going to try and draft something that's solid, try and play, like, not do anything super risky ourselves, and I think we'll just win in the end because we're the better team.
So not taking risks. There are a few predictions, though, against exceL, against you guys today because of the previous few weeks. But let's look to the future. Let's actually look into playoffs because you've got some tough matchups there. You've got Misfits, you know, so-so at the moment, but you've got Origin as well, and they are going to be so tough to beat. So what do you think are your chances of making it through to playoffs?
I actually think we have one of the easier last 4 matches. I think our chances are good. Like, obviously, they're not 100%, and we're on a bit of a losing streak. But I think we've played most of the very, very strong teams already, so I actually really like our chances going to playoffs.
Well, good luck, Dylan. Thank you so much for talking to me, because we need to head back to Froskurinn Medic.
Thank you very much, Frankie. And what a game it's going to be. Pretty confident words there from Dylan Falco. We're just the better team, so we'll win in the end. Hasn't worked out for them in the last 5, as they have yet to get a win this half of the split.
Yeah, the reality is that coming into this game, at the beginning of the split, everyone's like, Schalke versus exceL, this is easy. This is so Schalke favored. And now it feels like exceL fans are looking at this like, we smell blood in the water. Yeah. We know that this is a wounded animal and we can take it down. And Schalke fans really need to be clinching because, again, the only way this strength of schedule gets easier is if Schalke were playing themselves.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they have some of the easier teams, as you say, on the docket in the form of Rogue and exceL, who are both eliminated from playoffs, but that means they've got nothing to lose as well. Like, all exceL can do, all Mystique can do coming in this game as well, is just show up and be like, hey, I deserve to be on this LEC stage.
Yeah, that's the key thing. It's the fact that we have substitutions coming in. Kasing was moved down into the UK Premiership, I believe, whereas Mystique is now joining the stage next to Jeskla there, so trying to get some of their rookies some LEC experience.
I will be remiss if I didn't say UK League Championship. The casters there have moved away from the Premiership and now doing the League Championship, and they would tell me off if I made that.
Thank you for telling me.
That's all right. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's not me. It's the casters there. Be angry at them.
How British can we make this? How many apologies can we stack on top of each other?
We can definitely put a few more in. Let's get into picks and bans. Schalke on the blue side, exceL on the red. Schalke did choose blue this game as well.
One of the 2 teams that did pick blue side coming into the Silas 9.4 disabled patch here. So the question is, what is the priority pick? Because coming into this, it feels like red side, you ban Lucian, you ban Jarvan, you ban Jace. And what are the big priority picks that are left? You know, it used to be Silas because you could flex him. He had a lot of blind pickable matchups there, but I feel like it should be something in the mid lane. Maybe a support.
I like mid lane. I think Abbedagge has quite a wide pool. He's played a lot of Lissandra, some LeBlanc, Rise there as well. But also, getting something for upset seems to be a power move for Schalke. They want to play through their bottom side of the map.
See, I actually suspected that it would be something like the Lissandra, but it felt wrong because Zoe has such a good matchup into Lissandra. So I expected that Schalke would be like LeBlanc, Zoe ban, try to priority pick Lissandra, but exceL read that. They take away the Lissandra, and suddenly now it's the Jarvan.
Yep, Jarvan, the first pick here for Schalke. We've seen it work very well for Splice in the first game, and now exceL perhaps looking towards their jungle. Nico is still available. Heard rumblings about it across the course of the week, but you never know where these teams are going to go when there's nothing on the line.
I don't think it's going to be a Sejuani pickup.
Oh,
No.
You got baited.
Well, it just tells me that they know for sure that that's going to be a Jarvan jungle.
Okay, why does it tell you that?
Frankly, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it says that they don't care and they're just like, let's give a really easy composition. I think something that is fun about exceL, as I now think through it, is that exceL didn't win through cheese. Like, a lot of people expected that this team's gonna have to really layer on the Gouda if they're gonna take any victories, but the best games from exceL that we've seen is them just playing really simple, easy to execute compositions, and Sejuani does kind of fit in that whole Venn diagram of easy to execute in the meta right now.
You throw the ultimate out, it hits someone, you all jump onto that target and take them out. There's the Renekton for Expect in the top lane, though, alongside the Thresh being picked up by exceL. Schalke prioritized their bottom lane as expected. Kai'Sa and Alistar the picks. Upset is 5-3 on the Kai'Sa across the course of the split. Has actually only died once on it in those 5 games, though.
Upset is a very good AD carry. The problem is that Upset hasn't really gotten to the stage of the game where he can take over. A lot of things have been going wrong for Schalke before they even get to showcase how strong of a team-fighting team that they are. A lot of solo deaths in lane, particularly around their mid lane. Abbedagge has something like the most solo deaths pre-15 minutes of any mid laner, so it hasn't been a good look. We'll see if he gets something safer. It's not going to get Lissandra. That's what I expected it to be.
Not going to be the Rise either. Kalista banned away by Schalke, taking that away from Jeskla, but Jeskla's tended to err towards things like the Ezreal, like the Sivir, those safer AD carries down towards the bottom lane. Jinx removed as well from the pool.
I think Sivir's hard to pick here because Alistar has such a good combo into Sivir. So if you do, your spell shield basically means nothing because you spell shield the W, the pulverize still nails you.
Instead, it's going to be the Cassiopeia for exceL. Could be bot, could be mid. I've heard a few rumblings of Conqueror Cassiopeia. We'll see if that comes out in this game.
Yeah, and that's the question for me is it that domination Conqueror Cassiopeia into the bot lane, or will it go into the mid lane? Zoe was the thing that jumped out to me. Zoe, a very strong blind pickable champion due to her range, due to how many team fights she can slot into. Seems like the obvious answer for Abbedagge. She has great wave clear once you're level 5, so if he does want to play safer, not feed before 15 minutes, he can just sit back.
Picking up that Zoe will give him a little bit of safety in the mid lane. First time he's played it, though, this split. I'd like a tank for Schalke as well. Odoamne on the Poppy is something that we have seen before. Not what we're going to see this game, though. It's the Vladimir instead.
Yeah, I did not want to see the Poppy on Odo. Not that I don't like Poppy as a pick right now into the meta, but I actually really love how Vladimir slots in. Because of the power that Urgot has lost in the top lane pool really getting opened up, I feel like Vladimir, it's his time to shine. He was just left out of kind of the relevant conversation of top laners, and he hyper scales on side lanes. So Odo has a carry-oriented champion that eventually can take over a game and can also take over team fights.
Ooh. Yasuo, the final pick here for exceL. Still not sure if that Cassiopeia is going towards the bottom lane or if it's going to be Yasuo Thresh.
I'm going to say that it does go towards the bot lane.
Yeah, you think you play Cassiopeia Thresh down towards that bottom side, hook into Miasma, into just Twin Fang off the Twin Fang?
It is a very kill-oriented bot lane, which works with a kill-oriented support like Thresh.
It definitely does. Important to note as well, Mystiques' signature pick, this Thresh. Seen him play it in the Challenger Series qualifiers a long, long time ago. And he still enjoys a little bit of a Thresh in the UK LC. With 20 seconds left, it looks like you are correct. The Cassiopeia going down towards Jeskla. Special will be taking the Yasuo mid.
So we will keep our eyes on kind of what Keystone Cassio goes for if we're going to see the Conqueror build that has been very popular in Korean solo queue. It's a different max. It's not the Q max Cassiopeia that we normally thought of as the Marksman Cassiopeia. It's an E max, so back to that Twin Fangs.
And with so much on the line for Schalke in this game, they will want to work their way around some slightly eccentric picks in the form of the Yasuo and Cassiopeia. Of course, they're sitting at 7-7 after starting the split so well. 7-2, lost the last 5 games, have a relatively easy strength of schedule left. Misfits, Origin, Rogue, not the hardest opponents in the world, but still, you need to be picking up these wins, especially when teams like Splice are taking wins over the top dogs.
And for me, I just want Schalke to play confident League of Legends. I want them to slow things down, get involved more with Memento and IgNar, unlock him from the lane. He is on something like the Alistar, so he can do a lot of damage in these roams. And I want Schalke to go back to what made them so successful in the early half of the LEC.
Looking for Memento and IgNar to step up. Of course, Upset, the key man for this team, has been, since their inception, a long, long time ago, or since their return, at least, to the LEC. Big game. Lots on the line for Schalke 04. Not so much for exceL, but a chance for their rookie support to prove himself.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
And special on the Yasuo versus Abbedagge's Zoe. Now,
Yep.
Abbedagge could choose just not to play this lane. He could say, we're just going to farm it out. I'm here to provide utility and long-range engage for my team. I'm here to, chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of gum. But if he does choose to play this lane, this can be very devastating because Yasuo, obviously with the wind wall, can cause a lot of problems for Zoe, and Zoe is still a low mobility mage. She presses all R, she's gonna go exactly back to that little circle on the ground, and it's very easy setup for Yasuo to nail it with the tornado.
That is the question for Abbedagge, because he has stepped forward a little bit too much recently in lane. He's the most deaths of any mid laner at 15 minutes, I do believe. We do see Jeskla going for the phase rush Cassiopeia here, not the Conqueror EMAX, just wants that little bit more pressure in the lane.
Yeah, still the domination, however, so we will keep our eyes to see what Jeskla is going to max. If it's going to be the Q with E. The old Cassiopeia would max the Q to have a lot of that push potential there.
See trades happening in the top lane as well as Odoamne and expect just a little bit of damage down onto each other. I do want to talk a little bit about the top lane because last game we saw Chachi on the Renekton really get ahead of his lane opponent. Vladimir, a bit more sustain in his kit than the Aurelia we saw in the last match, but maybe not the best time to do that as Memento comes in for an early gank here. Double flay, we're knocking IgNar back. Jeskla with a good flash away from the EQ combo, but already that Cassiopeia's flash is burnt. Mystiques doesn't have level 2, so no hook available for him. And that we a successful gank for Memento.
Yeah, this should be an easy repeat gank, however, for Memento as well. Now, my curiosity is on Caedral, where his pathing is going to go. He got information that Memento, oh my god, the wraparound.
Still only level 2, and now level 2 from the exceL bottom lane. May mean Memento doesn't want to do too much, and you can see actually, if we just pan our way up the river as Memento comes in here for this invade, there is a ward from exceL that means they know Memento hasn't gone back towards the top side of the map. Now, as this trade happens, Memento jumping in, Caedral low on HP. The electrocute coming out from the Jarvan as well will force him away, but there's still no smite on Memento, and with Mystiques and Jeskla able to push out the lane, they can come and join this.
We definitely have to be very careful playing this, however. You can see that Momento's starting to pull back because Abbedagge has lost push priority or control over special here, as Yasuo actually has inside cut here if he wants to join this fight, and he is circling underneath.
And nothing too much going to go on. The exceL bot lane able to react in time, stopped any more pressure, but Upset now does have a 10 CS lead in this bottom lane. Yes, Jeskla will catch some of it back up with the wave pushing in, but it's not the easiest position to farm from.
Yeah, kind of the bigger picture is the fact that while Memento lost a little bit of speed in his jungle, he was dancing around a little bit with Caedral, the map still feels very much split. You have so much vision control over the bot side river for Schalke, and you can see Upset and IgNar, despite having the vision control, are actually trying to set a trap for Jeskla and Mystique.
They are down towards that bottom side. IgNar has the flash pulverize if he wants to go in.
It's up.
He's waiting.
There's no way they fall for this trade.
No, you don't. In all honesty, if exceL had fallen for that, they would have deserved the fate that would have been caused to them. We did see except just pushing forward to try and get a little bit of vision control in the blue side jungle. He used the Scryer's bloom. Mystique doesn't hit the hook here. Maybe trying to bait IgNar in. There comes the engage because Caedral is waiting around the corner. Great play back. There's the miasma as well. Already the cow going to be stunned up. One more auto is all they need. IgNar down. First blood to exceL in the bottom lane.
Okay, so two things. A great read from Caedral to recognize that, hey, my team's trying to get baited into this 2v2. I can disrupt a lot of this. But also a poor read from IgNar. The wave was actually pushing into Upset. Upset had decided, we've already got the advantage here. Cassio doesn't have the flash. Let's let the wave push in, freeze it, and really punish Jeskla. Not allow him to approach this wave because he doesn't have flash. And IgNar decides to throw that all away by looking for the all-in engagement. So very different pages between Upset and his support.
Definitely was. Upset as well running the cleanse, so don't have quite as much pressure in the lane because you haven't got the heal early on. When you get to level 6, of course, that will be very impactful. You can cleanse away the Petrifying Gaze, you can cleanse away the hooks as well, but right now, exceL in the advantage in that bottom lane. It's showing on the scoreboard as well about a 300, 400 gold lead.
It's also the last chapter is now completed for Jeskla right there, which means that Cassiopeia is pretty much unmovable in terms of a mana resource from this lane. She can just sit here, she can just free push the wave, try to look for these trades with the QE, and there is a lot of kill pressure now turned around in favor of exceL because IgNar doesn't have flash.
Moving away from the bottom lane, we do want to just talk around the other two lanes for a second. Odoamne now has gone back, got a Kindle Gem and a Cloth Armor for himself. Very even into this Renekton lane. Not too much pressure being put up here by either team. I'm
really glad that you bring up the Vladimir versus Renekton. I think the last time that we really saw this matchup played out was Origin versus Vitality, and Alphari was able to absorb so much pressure from Cabochard because the thing that Renekton really excels in is diving opponents, turning 2v1s around. And against a Vladimir, you just can't do that. It's so dangerous to dive him due to the W. And so I feel like Vladimir is like a perfect answer to absorb a lot of that pressure.
IgNar with the Hex Flash here, going to catch out Caedral. Caedral just looking to jump across the wall. It's stunned up. There's the landing of the EQ combo. Easy enough for Abbedagge with that Drowsy as well. Good kill from Schalke.
There we go. IgNar is now connected back to the game. Much better play from him this time around. Slips into Fog of War, has the control ward in his pocket, and knows that Caedral, hey, you burned your flash downstairs ganking us. Let's see if we can catch you out looking towards mid lane.
And the CC combo is actually disgusting as well. Abbedagge with the Sleep Trouble Bubble. You have the EQ combo as well from the Jarvan. Expect trading onto Odoamne here, but Odo still has the Hemo Plague, and Vladimir just too safe. Too safe in the top lane for Expect really to do too much on that Renekton.
I like IgNar threatening the wave.
I mean, it makes sense because Jarvan's on his way down here as well. IgNar looking for the stun, Lantern out, but Jeskla still caught up. Doesn't have the flash. Still from that level 1 gank teleport coming in now. Memento on the miasma. Oh! The fly into hook combo from Jeskla is absolutely perfect. Expect comes in. Odo with the Hemo Plague. Gonna get some health back, but Caedral now waiting just around the corner. And exceL once again reacting in the bottom lane, getting themselves their second kill.
Yeah, party in the bot lane, but of course it's Jeskla as the big pickup here. Now a 2-0 Cassiopeia. Just checked what he's maxing. It is the E-max Cassiopeia. So looking for very heavy trades there.
There's a reason we picked up Mystiques Thresh as well in the pick and ban phase. It's his signature champion. He's doing a very good job on it so far. exceL will get the first dragon of the game. It's a mountain. Very strong position for them overall. 7 minutes in, 1,000 gold lead, 500 gold lead or thereabout for exceL.
I mean, frankly, with the Dragon RNG...
Oh!
I was going to say, frankly, with the Dragon RNG spawn here, the fact that your Cassiopeia is sitting 2-0, the fact that you have a Cassiopeia and now you have a Mountain Dragon, if exceL ever blow this game open, the possibility of an early Baron is that much more terrifying. It works beautifully on this composition.
And this is really good stuff from Yasuo. Puts the miasma down, realizes Memento's going in, and then Mystiques with the flayed hook on the Jarvan, perfectly timed. It's not the most difficult mechanical play, but you have to do it just at the right moment to pull that Jarvan back. And we heard Dylan Falco say, you know, our players are just better. We want to play through the bottom side of the map. Well, it's not working out for them so far.
And it's also a really good read from exceL, you know, to have such a powerful 2v2 of the Thresh and the Cassiopeia. For the longest time, you never let these champions through together. It was instantaneous death. So, you know, Schalke, they put their gamble that they have the access to the Kai'Sa, to the Alistar, their team fight presence, their carry potential from upset is so strong, whereas exceL put more of their firepower into that lane phase and said, okay, Cassiopeia and Thresh, they shouldn't be able to break this.
Expect is trading in here. He's going to get that Conqueror up. Heals, of course, from it. Cold Meat coming out alongside the Ruthless Predator stun. Odo will get the Sanguine Rush and then heal up quite a lot from those minions anyway. So he's not too worried about this. Continually trading with Expect is what he anticipates doing in this lane. And neither of the junglers really want to come up towards here anytime soon.
And of course, the big obnoxious thing of Vladimir is the closer he gets to level 9, the closer he is to 5 points in Q, which means he's unmovable. So I like the fact that Caedral is trying to look for opportunities here before that big window, because once Vladimir's 9, it almost doesn't matter. He's going to be so hard to dive successfully because he'll just get so much health back so much quicker.
Caedral and Expect will get some deep vision in here. Blue buff still a little away from spawning, but Expect can kind of read where the Jarvan's going to be now because they know these camps aren't up.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you can't look for the dive top lane, you can still play around the fact that your Renekton is shoving forward, that he's always going to get the early rotation. So why not place the vision down into the jungle, see if you can take your opportunity that, hey, if I can't break Odo here, maybe I can break Memento.
Memento was one of those players we wanted to see step up in this game. We talked about it in the early weeks. Memento, IgNar, working together, getting deep vision in, going together as a gank squad in the early game. Well, hasn't paid off too well for them so far this game. We saw that one gank around mid from IgNar. That did work, but the rest of it has been very much on exceL, getting good counter-gank timings, getting good TP players down towards the bottom side.
And finally, we have a little bit of setup here. So Flash still available for... I was going to say Flash available for IgNar, but Well spotted.
And Mystiques actually, like, laning phase is probably the easiest part of the game to come into a new team or come into a different squad and actually play from solo queue or from, you know, from the academy team. But his laning phase has been very, very strong so far this game. I want to give a bit of credit to the rookie player on the exceL lineup. And I wonder how that transitions into the team fights, because Thresh it's very difficult to choose exactly how you play team fights as Thresh. Are you more peeling? Are you more trying to be the engage tool for your team? With the Sejuani, I want to see him be a bit more of a peel, but we'll have to keep our eyes on him as the game develops.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you're kind of asking the question of what is his responsibility to this team fight and to this team. And I think because you have Caedral on the likes of Sejuani, you know, Caedral still, you know, it's his responsibility to say the fight happens now. It's going to be like this. I am the front line. So I think it is fairly easy for Mystiques to just play it out as the Thresh.
Pretty brave there from exceL. Knew he was going to tank up a tower shot at least, but just trying to force Odoamne back as much as possible. Memento's going to step on a ward here down towards the bottom side as well, and Caedral is just waiting around the corner. He's in that bush. You can see him coming in to join his team. Both junglers have been tracking the other relatively well recently, and they've slowed the pace of the game down just a little bit because of it. Hook lands for Mystiques though, straight onto the Miasma. Unbreakable will used by IgNar. He has the flash, looking to get next to the wall to get away. Flashes across. Glacial Prism's going to connect, and now Mystiques in the perfect position for the play follow-up. One more auto attack will get the kill. Caedral healed up. Memento jumping in here as well. Now it's on Jeskla. Memento gets the flag and drag in. The hook lands once again for Mystiques, and Caedral turns it around, gets the stun onto Memento. They get one kill. Abbedagge here in time, though, as upset will get the shutdown. Special can't quite land the knock-up, and it's going to be a 2-for-2 trade in the bottom lane.
Some fancy footwork from Mystiques right there, again showcasing his Thresh, but it is ultimately upset that picks up the big kills there. That's now a 2-0 Kai'Sa. See what she buys when she comes back. Is it the double pickaxe? No, it's a straight Infinity Edge.
Big shutdown kill onto Jeskla as well, of course, so a lot of gold going into his back pocket. Straight Infinity Edge is very good for the Kai'Sa. And upset there, was able to stay undamaged for a long time just because of how much time IgNar soaked up. It looks like Schalke are going to go for this lane swap, but they've walked straight over a ward here. IgNar actually walked over a ward at the blue, so exceL should be aware that Schalke are on the top side of the map.
Yeah, but it's an Ocean Dragon spawning in 10 seconds versus the possibility of looking for this dive here and the Rift Herald more importantly. So I really like the flip from Schalke as IgNar. You're a bit deep.
But he was there for the Squire's Bloom, and then someone just swope it away. Swiped is the word. Swiped it away from him right at the opportune moment.
IgNar has a tendency where he goes pretty deep behind enemy lines, and he's been caught out at some pretty unfortunate moments for Schalke fans.
Okay.
Of course, upset was able to lead him out of danger there, but it is something to watch for as a Schalke fan, is kind of when IgNar picks his moments to go on an adventure, to go for a hike through the woods.
Seems like both teams have accepted that they want to play around the Rift Hold instead of the Ocean Drake, as you say. Plates in the top lane pretty even, as they are on the bottom lane. It looks like only one plate's actually gone down this game. That was 2 exceL up towards the top side. Jeskla, now with the Seraphs building up, it's actually in a very strong spot on this Cassiopeia. The Infinity Edge, of course, on upset means that he can trade some of that damage back. But if Jeskla has the time to open up with these Twin Fangs, he's going to do a lot of damage to the Schalke bottom lane.
And you can see the respect from Upset and IgNar recognizing Jeskla's power on that Cassiopeia right now. So they're just saying, that's fine, we'll let it push in. We'll kind of wait for our opportunity to strike. And with the Miasma being down, that is kind of one of those windows that you're looking for, that IgNar can say, okay, if we have perfect information about where enemy jungle is, maybe we look for the engage then.
Yeah, risk is, of course, Memento on the other side of the map now, and Caedral on the top side of the map, meaning it's a lot harder for Schalke to take that engage. Sleep's going to hit here on to Special, caught out, not quite with a Powder Star, as Abbedagge comes up just short with a shot. And across the board, it looks like both teams kind of settling for this rotational play that we see, trying to get the vision control around the Rift Herald, but now IgNar with the flank position, upset, stepping forward, the Miasma's down as well, IgNar in a bush, no wards in there, Mystiques, do you spot him? Jarvan on his way up as well, here comes the Hex Flash, Jeskla going forward, upset, actually very low already, and Jeskla gets away, heal on upset as he pops the potion.
And you can see exactly what Schalke were trying to set up on the map. Memento was sprinting his way towards the top lane. IgNar had already managed to maneuver behind enemy lines for exceL, and they wanted to pull the trigger on the engage, but slightly slow to it. Give exceL the inside track to this Rift Herald.
IgNar still has the Hex Flash. Memento with the engage potential as well from that EQ. Looking at the Zoe and Yasuo rotation. Teleport coming in as Caedral now forced into the back of the pit. Here comes the counter teleport though, and Odoamne is going to try and jump into the pit. Abbedagge forced away. Mystiques getting a lot of damage down. The double last breath. Memento almost gone. He's fallen. The Cataclysm comes out, but here's Odoamne. Hemo plague straight into the stun. Mystiques, though, low hooks, once again landing. And Mystique hits hook after hook as exceL wipe away Schalke. Abbedagge trying to do a little bit more as exceL gets forced away. They picked up the Rift Herald. Miasma stops the Hex Splash going out, but the jump back in. exceL once again lands the hook. So much damage coming out of upset, but he opens up his back once again. Abbedagge still doing work here as upset, just cleaning up the fight. Somehow got the triple, somehow got the penta. The main man for Schalke stands up and is counted.
And everything else falls down around, but one thing remains for Schalke fans. They still have the best ADC in the league, and he just picked up a pentakill, 7-0 at 15 minutes. That guy is huge.
I thought they were done for in this fight. Replay brought to you by Alienware, and look at this fight, because it looks like exceL have Schalke's number.
And it's just completely different pages. The fact that IgNar is bouncing out the jungler because he's like, we're going for the smite contest. Meanwhile, Memento is going for the dive. He's saying, let's team fight here. And it just shows some of the splinters in Schalke's normally so crisp team fighting. But it doesn't matter because in the end, upset takes his time, he paces correctly, and he outmaneuvers this team fight.
And you think when upset gets stunned there, they have enough, but just perfect positioning from upset, stepping back, kiting back. Absolutely beautiful stuff to watch from the Schalke AD carry.
Oh, and that was almost it for Schalke. That was almost lights out if they had just into the meat grinder over that team fight, and upset manages to pluck it away from total darkness.
Want to give some credit to Abbedagge in the fight as well. His positioning when he was forced down towards the bottom side of the fight, he was able to re-engage, landing the bubbles, landing the paddle stars. Perfect stuff there from Schalke, and we've moved from a position where exceL were in the league now to Schalke being about 1,000 gold ahead. Rift Herald used mid, of course exceL picked that up in the last fight. This tower should fall as well. IgNar coming down from the top side, looking for a bit of a flank here, but with the Rift Herald charging in, you have to think that's a tower going down. It does. exceL pick up the first tower of the game, 17 minutes in.
That then again does unlock this Yasuo that he can start moving out into those side lanes. They can park their Cassiopeia and their Thresh very safely into that mid lane because Cassio can just clear the wave, has the lantern, doesn't need to be afraid at all.
I want to take a moment just to think about what that's done for this game. We'll wait to see if Memento ganks this top lane, because although the Penta came out for upset, exceL still very much in the action. Now, will Schalke engage here onto exceL? They don't. Yeah, I just want, if you could just break down for us, Frosk.
I mean,
what's that done for the game?
It was really the difference of Schalke, dead in the water in that moment, and then now Schalke still having a chance or an opportunity in this game. And it feels good for upset fans, but it still feels bad from Schalke fans because you're still in this problem where our team is supposed to be so good at team fighting. This is where we're supposed to thrive, so why do we keep, misplaying slightly? Why are we out of sync? Because something that Schalke were known for was their synergy, but I go back to it. Memento's forcing the fight. IgNar's punting the jungler over the wall. Why isn't the call fight together? Jarvan on top of Alistar.
So Schalke able to delay the game a little bit, able to stall out, able to get this AD carry in a very strong position. Infinity Edge finish, building up towards that Ginsu's on the Kai'Sa can do a lot of work. IgNar once again snuck into a bush here. You can see Memento realizes the top side of the map's where he wants to play. He's got down towards this river side, but Schalke's still unable to open that top side, unable to take down the tower. And it's still exceL who seem to have just that slight bit more map control. They're playing around bottom most of the time. Now they're coming to playing around top side most of the time. Now they're coming up towards this mid lane. Memento forces away special, but Caedral is waiting here, has the opportunity to strike if he can find the perfect engage.
I think Caedral just needs to walk away from mid and go bottom, and we should split the map. You can see that Schalke are cheating or shadowing towards the top side of the map, and exceL should double down here.
Odo with the Phantom Feet side steps, but the stun lock is coming out. exceL underneath the tower. Odo doesn't really have an escape plan here. No flash, no way out. exceL gets the kill, and exceL find a pick in the bottom lane.
And I hope this gives the confidence for Caedral to repeat gank for exceL. He is your big carry at this moment into the game, but meanwhile, Schalke, they have the numbers, they have the mid lane, and Special just has to let it go. He can't just step forward and win wall that because Memento will just snap engage.
exceL trying to react, but they're not going to be there in time to stop the tower from falling. First of the game for Schalke, 19 minutes in. Game pretty much entirely even. Bot lane tower will go across towards exceL as well, giving that little bit of an advantage. But as we get towards the 20-minute mark, I do want to just highlight how important this win will be for Schalke. They have Rogue, they have exceL left to play. They have still Misfits and Origin, two incredibly tough teams, and they're only sitting at 7-7. When teams like Splice pick up wins, when teams like Origin pick up wins, when Vitality continue to stride forward, Schalke need to find a win, need to find something in this second half of the split if they're going to be in playoff contention.
And it's not just about playoffs for me. Watching Schalke, it just feels like they've lost a lot of their confidence in themselves. For me, it's finding the win on stage so they can get out of this rut. You know, sitting in a 5-game loss streak, that hurts. And it doesn't matter what happens in scrims if you can't translate it towards the stage. So while a win here would always be nice, and it should be frankly expected in terms of where these teams came in from the standings, from the expectations, Schalke need to make a statement this game. They need to find that momentum behind them. They need to find the trust back into each other and start playing with more confidence. Start playing with that explosive nature that made them so successful in the beginning of the split.
Maybe getting that Penta on towards upset earlier on will have given them a little bit of confidence. It doesn't seem to be hampering exceL too much. Still making a few plays across the map, still finding those picks where they can. But now with Baron live, you can see all of the vision control is set up towards this top side of the map. Actually, exceL have been quite passive with their vision. Control ward in the back of the pit, control ward near their jungle. Whereas Schalke are the team that have river control, have the vision in there, making it a lot harder for exceL to step forward.
Feels like the game is basically on a knife's edge right now. A single team fight could really swing very quickly for a Baron. With such a fed Kai'Sa, she's going to shred through this objective, as well as the Mountain Drake, as well as the Cassiopeia for exceL. So either team could turn towards this monster objective with very little pushback.
But that Vladimir is still scaling up. Here we go. IgNar and Upset coming down. Feel them going for the fight. That is then used by Memento. Miasma comes out from Jeskla as well to stop IgNar and Memento getting in for the engage. Special did have a flank position, but not going to get it. Down towards the bottom side, though. Odoamne is chasing out except. That Renekton will just about survive, as you can see in the bottom corner of your screen. Odo, though, has popped the ultimate, has popped the flash as well. except popped his as well. And now exceL, once again, set up towards the Baron. Gets Special has the priority up towards that top side. They pushed out mid. They can get vision control here towards Nashor.
And we're in this very tense dance over the Nashor, but at this point, you're still trying to get some key itemization for champions. Oh, no. Oh, no.
IgNar caught out behind his own lines, but he's the one that will fall first. You have to build. Glacial Prism hits upset. He pops the cleanse. IgNar already down. Memento there as well, but too late to the party. And now Caedral just needs to pop the blast cone to get out. exceL find the pick they wanted.
And the confidence to go hunting like that from exceL is that Memento had just used the Jarvan ultimate previously, so they knew that walking into the jungle blind, even if they found Memento, that they had the advantage. They had the Sejuani ult.
Abbedagge joined up with Memento and Upset to try and defend this outer tower. Minion wave still a long way away, still sitting between that tier 1, tier 2, so they're not going to get too much out of it.
And so kind of back to this previous point, I was talking about you're waiting on item breakpoint. So yeah, Upset sitting, you know, big and pretty right now, but Odo is still having a relatively hard time down here. It's a little bit easier that now that he's the 5 points in the queue, so hopefully he can just kind of sit here and stall out the Renekton, but he's just now completed his Hourglass. Previously, before this, he was sitting on the pieces of it and was just getting kicked around.
And alongside that, as soon as he can deal with expect, you have to think Special will go into that side lane. Yasuo into Vlad is a historically good matchup for the Yasuo when he gets his Infinity Edge, when he gets towards that 2-3 item breakpoint.
I actually think he's okay right now because I think expect is between backs and buys, whereas previously, before we looked at it, Odo was between it, so Odo got a good back timer while all the action was happening on the top side of the map.
And once again, exceL putting their resources up towards the top side. 4 men strong, Upset farming up as well. He's got the Ginsus building up towards that next item. Expect it to be perhaps the rapid fire cannon. There we are. Completes it on the Kai'Sa. But we talk a lot about how Upset's in a really good position because of the Penta, because he's got 1,000, you know, he's sitting on 1,000 gold bounty. But you look at Jeskla, he's got the finished Seraphs, he's got the Liandries. If that Cassio gets a couple of Twin Fangs off in a fight, you are shredding through your opponents.
It's, again, the difference of how they want to fight, and that if you have Caedral and Mystique and Jeskla there, that front line is massive between the Thresh ultimate, Caedral's health bar in general, and Cassiopeia's ability to kite and control a fight, whereas, again, Schalke are really reliant on long-range pick. So they have Abbedagge on the Zoe, and then Upset, who is so far ahead that he could just flash into the backline if he was feeling pretty confident.
But that long range is what makes it so hard for exceL to set up, but they don't care. They just engage straight onto Memento. The jungler from Schalke caught out, and he's got nowhere to go. Steps on the miasma, and immediately exceL step on the gas. Abbedagge going in with the bubble, lands it only onto Mystique. Now IgNar and Upset needs to join the pipe, because you have to feel exceL will just start up the Baron straight away.
And the only advantage that Schalke have here is that they still have the long-range poke from Zoe. Here comes the TP, so Odo's coming from the top side.
5,000 HP left on the Baron. It's down to 2,000 now. IgNar coming in. It goes down. exceL get it. Now can they take the fight on the back of it? upset still alive on the back line. You have to look at him if you're Schalke. Caedral alive. The hook lands onto Odo. He gets into the back of the fight though. Abbedagge putting out the damage from the side. They're sitting on a knife edge and they're slicing through exceL. They get two, but Caedral expect and Jeskla get out alive.
Fish in a barrel right there for Schalke, but they don't get the Baron. I believe 3 Baron buffs make it out, so it can be applied to all 3 lanes.
Really good stuff from exceL. They pulled the trigger as soon as they caught out Memento, who was not in the best of positions here at the start of this fight.
And just a massive mistake from Memento. We said earlier that IgNar has a tendency to go for some hikes in the darkness. This time around, it was Memento out for a night walk.
Baron secured, of course, the smite makes it so much easier for exceL. Off the back of it, Odo gets a good Hemo plague off. You can see upset trying to get in the fight, but just can't get close enough to really rain down hell upon the exceL players.
So much damage there coming out of Odo and Abbedagge.
Yeah.
Oh, that was disgusting from Vlad.
It is absolutely disgusting, but the problem is now you've got a Yasuo who can split in a side lane, you've got a Renekton who can split in a side lane. They have the Baron buff as well, and across the board, exceL in a very good position, 900 gold lead, 25 minutes in.
And exceL are really dependent on the Baron buff with this composition because you have, what, 3 melee members. I'm going to barely count Cassiopeia and Thresh as ranged champions. You don't have a traditional ADC, so they need the assistance in sieging, especially against a composition like Schalke's. If they don't have Baron, it should just be a fairly easy stall game, and when you have Kai'Sa and Vladimir, that's really the pocket that Schalke want to sit in. They want to stall out this Baron. They want to say it's very difficult for them to siege safely. We can just survive this, wait it out, and try to outscale on a side lane with really only Yasuo being the big problem.
And well, upset is the one pushing out the top lane at the moment. Bot lane being pushed in by Special. Upset doesn't have the teleport, of course, so it'll take him a little bit of time to join his team again. exceL trying to deny vision around this red buff, then we'll push in. Here comes Jeskla with the Baron buff up. Caedral has one as well. Hook doesn't quite land on Odoamne, but all they want is the tower. Memento goes a little bit too deep here, pull back with the play. Glacial Prison doesn't quite connect. That is a big team fighting ultimate down for exceL. Now, Upset has joined the fight as well, sitting on 3 items on that AD carry, but the tower is the target. IgNar jumps forward with the Hex Flash. Tower still slowly chipping away. Abbedagge is trying to match up against Expect in the mid lane, but all exceL really want is this turret. They can't defend it yet. They will wait for the next wave.
Yeah, and the Sejuani ult not hitting was the unfortunate thing for exceL. I do like the fact that they rotate then to Expect. He still has the GA, so even though they don't have the Sejuani ult, they can use kind of the all-in dive for Renekton.
It's Hook cleansed straight away. Oh, we saw pings on the bush coming on the minimap, and I thought Upset may have been done for. But he doesn't get caught out yet. exceL, though, will use that as the opportunity to push in because Expect is already taking that mid lane tower and has the flank position.
And again, it's back to that idea that with the Renekton, with the GA, he feels very confident that even though we don't have Sejuani ult, we can still threaten this dive. I'm totally fine to get back there and be that, you know, budget Sej ult.
And looking for the Cloud Drake off the back of this as well. exceL, about 1,500 gold they'll take off the back of this Baron. Not the biggest advantage in the world, but when they lost 2 players in the fight for it, they will accept every little bit they can get. 2,000 gold lead coming up to the 28-minute mark. And Schalke, they're limping. They're limping over the finish line right now. Even a win in this game will not give them too much confidence, you have to feel.
I mean, in this game, though, I feel like Schalke weathered the storm. Yeah, they lost their towers, but, you know, it's not like an in-him has been cracked open or anything like that. This is a moment where you're probably peeking into comms and both teams are saying, it's fine, guys, we outscale. Again, it's about where you find that scaling potential. Yasuo Special will be a big problem, but this is a guy that's relatively new to the LEC. I don't know what Special's confidence is that he can play into a side lane and he can be that big pressure point for exceL, or if he wants to be kind of buckled up with his shot caller with his team and try to follow up on a massive Sejuani ultimate into a massive Yasuo ult.
I mean, that's the question, is that how confident as Special coming into the LEC this split can you be against Odoamne, who has been playing in the LEC since around 2014? A guy with 4 years experience versus a guy with just 1. It's a very big gap between the two.
And again, it's not even just about player versus player, because you'd say that Odo's probably going to have his number there, even though the matchup's not great for him. But it's just the confidence. You know, guys, do I go push now? You can see him right now in the river. It's, do I join you guys? Am I pushing top lane? Where am I going?
exceL maybe a little bit split on the calls. We heard from Machine earlier, the Caedral, perhaps sometimes says the team isn't on the same page, but now they're just looking for that final tier 2 you have to feel. Upset, no cleanse still on that Kai'Sa. Very, very fed. You have to be fed enough to escape from the exceL lineup. 3,000 gold between the two teams. Once again, looks like exceL are just getting the vision control, getting some deep wards in, and then settling for this Baron, which is up in just a minute time. You can see how back and forth this game has been, how on a knife's edge, as you said, Frost, it has been for both these teams. exceL in the driver's seat at the moment, but only by a hair.
It's frankly been a bit of a roller coaster. I feel like Amazing backstage is probably just like white-knuckled. Whereas it feels like there's not as much pressure for exceL. Obviously, you want to win here, but you're looking for experience for your rookies. They've made it fairly clear where their priorities lie by moving Kasing into the other roster, starting to experiment a little bit.
And I think that's, like, exceL have always said they're a 10-man roster. They always said they wanted to develop their academy players. We've seen Mystiques have an incredible performance so far. Looks like he's going Shirelli's Reverie next on the Thresh for a little bit more engaged potential. A couple of other big items being picked up here. I want to bring attention to the Mercurial Scimitar on Upset. Cleanse and QSS now for him. Infinity Edge on Special. He is going to be a monster if he can get those crits to hit. IgNar going for the engage here. As Upset comes in with the Supercharger as well, but Caedral and Expect will get out for the moment. Mystiques looking for the hook, only lands it onto a minion and takes a Sleepy Trouble Bubble, but that great Paddle Star blocked up with the wind wall. And now Upset and Schalke with the pressure in mid can use that to get some vision control around this Baron, but exceL still in a very strong spot if they can find the team fight.
So what you're looking for is fishing for Schalke. That's all they're doing. They're throwing out Abbedagge's Sleepy Trouble Bubble. They're seeing what they get. IgNar's hunting for a flank. He's placed great deep vision onto the side, and he's just seeing if he can follow up to that CC. Whereas exceL looking for the Wombo combo.
And I mean, for Schalke, you're in a pretty comfortable position because at the start of the split, we always talked about them as probably the best, if not one of the best team fighting teams in the league. They're very good at judging exactly when they can engage, very good at judging exactly how they can take a fight. Maybe it hasn't been the case in the second half of the split, but still, you have to think those instincts are there.
Expect some trouble.
He's okay. He'll get out, but yes, he was definitely in trouble for a while there.
He's going to have to reset and catch that wave that Odo has prepared for him later.
And that's what we talk about with top lane, this back and forth that you have in the side lanes. Like, Odo will push up the wave, either Special or Expect will come and match it, and that gives Schalke the time to get the vision in, get some deep wards in as well. They're not going to do that just quite yet. It looks like IgNar actually backing to refill his warding totem, his Celestial Eye. And then when that's refilled, up to 4 stacks, he can then come and just get a little bit more vision with his team. But both teams seem to be settled in this slow dance back and forth around the Baron, and the question is who blinks first.
It's also for Schalke, they can try to stall out.
Oh. Well, this is not blinking. This is staring right into the eyes of your enemy and just saying, okay, we'll take it. That's gone. That's gone. IgNar looking for the engagement, gets knocked up straight away. Upset on his way as well. There's a flank here from Odo, and maybe he gets jumped on. Glacial Vision straight away into the stun. He's locked up. He's done. And Schalke caught napping as exceL take everything off the map.
It is Cassiopeia with a Mountain Drake. The ability to burn through that. Then you have a Renekton and a Yasuo on top of it. They, like you said, they blinked and Baron was gone.
We set it up when the Mountain Drake was taken. The first dragon of the game, you said, exceL can take this incredibly quickly, and they just showed us how fast they can do it.
Yeah, to quote Double Lift, I don't know if you've heard of him, it's a bit cheesy in the game.
10% extra damage is working out for exceL. Now they're pushing in a 4v5 situation. Odoamne still 20 seconds up, and there's the windwall to stop Abbedagge getting any push. Looking for this inhibitor, exceL. I've opened up the map, they've broken through the base, but can they take down the inhib? Still good sleeps, Upset still alive as well. He jumps forward, looking for Expect. There's the QSS. Cleanse still available for him. IgNar with the flank potential. The Cataclysm comes out, but still exceL still all alive. And IgNar will be the first to fall. The sleep comes out once again, but Abbedagge can't get past the wind wall. exceL do not take the inhib, but they all get out alive.
And you could see the mentality there. Schalke are saying the wind wall is down. Now is our time to look for the engagement because Zoe and Kai'Sa will actually be able to hit their opponents. They tried to look for the window, but exceL read it. They disengaged safely, and it was too long. IgNar couldn't find the quick enough engage that Windwall was back up, and everyone walks to safety.
What a series of events for exceL. 6,000 gold up now, 3,000 gold already off this Baron buff. Yes, they didn't take an inhibitor, but they've taken a lot off the plates of Schalke.
You're also starting to see the ebb and flow of how this game is going to work because exceL's composition is very reliant on the Baron. It's kind of wait for Baron, take Baron very quickly, use it to crack a tower. Then it stalls out. We dance back and forth into mid, take another Baron, rinse and repeat.
The question is, though, with a minute and a half left on the Baron, can exceL take more? Can they put Special in a side lane, expect in a side lane, and actually crack maybe another tower, maybe even get that inhibitor in the top lane? Because if they can, that's when the game really speeds up and Schalke have to find a way to react, which is what they're trying to do in the mid lane. You can see Odo here doesn't have the teleport, of course, used it in that last fight, whereas expect still has one of his own.
You would say yes if maybe they caught Schalke out of position, but because they're trying to crack inhib lines, it's much harder because you have to go that much farther down the map.
I totally agree with you, Frosk. But exceL may be willing to take that gamble. Special pushing in, just needs 1 or 2 autos on that inhibitor. Jeskla here as well, as all of exceL move across. It's a little bit risky, but exceL will do it just in time. And there is the inhibitor broken. Now, exceL can push towards the mid lane, expect caught off towards the side, doesn't have the flash, is getting chased down here by Upset, uses all of the damage on and towards him. Their base is being broken open. Upset still has to wait around for the GA, but that's the second inhibitor to fall, and exceL just continues to push in. Odo, expect eventually taken down. Odo gets the kill. But exceL take 2 inhibitors from it, and I said a minute ago, can they take more than just that tower? Well, they took the entirety of Schalke's base.
And I said it's if they can catch Schalke, but Schalke decided to commit to the tankiest member, the hardest member to run down. And yeah, it's nice to have that shut down on Odo, who's now level 17 on Vladimir, exactly where he wants to be. But most teams cannot come back from a 2 inhib deficit. The one nice thing is that the Baron will come up, and they just have to kind of hold off the Baron maybe for about 2 minutes before their inhibs can respawn, and they'll have a bigger window, but...
That's a long, long time to have to wait. I mean, you look at how little Schalke's actually taken of exceL's structures. This bottom lane tower is still alive. They still have tier 2s across the rest of the map. Only 2 towers to 8 in favor of exceL. 6,000 gold lead still there for the red side team.
And it feels like you're just watching Schalke bleed out at this point. And now I turn everything towards exceL. When is this team going to, you know, feel everything behind them? You do have a lot of rookies, a lot of people who are new to the LEC stage, so they should feel fairly confident with their sizable lead now. Just pull the trigger, just end it, put them out of their misery.
IgNar caught out, Memento and Upset here for the fight, but here comes Jeskla as well. IgNar pops the unbreakable will. There's the hook, pulls him back. They've gone, they pulled the trigger, and Schalke are the ones to suffer. IgNar goes down, and now in a 4v5, you have to think exceL can push in.
And they've got 2 super waves to work with. The one in the top lane is going to be pretty slow going. You can see Odo also out of position because he's trying to clear mid lane. Maybe Caedral looks for the hard engage here.
Maybe Odo looks for the flank as well. No Glacial Prism on Caedral. Special still doesn't have the ultimate either. exceL maybe just accepting they got 1 kill and they will back away here. Waiting, hooking, seeing if Mystiques can land that death sentence for Schalke.
There's nothing else for them to take on the map right now, so they're not punished for sitting here. They do need to be a little bit cautious of the Baron timer coming up in 1 minute, but for probably the next 45 seconds, they can feel free to push here.
IgNar back up though. Upset forced away with the Steel Tempest. It looks like exceL will just reset. And while we have a moment of pause, exceL actually pushing towards the mid lane. Let's wait to see if they do anything here, because they're just trying to wait for Schalke to push back. Maybe Upset takes a step too far.
I was going to say, who's going to be the greedy one? Is it going to be Upset?
Doesn't look like it. He's still got the Mercurial Scimitar and the Cleanse, so catching him is actually an incredibly hard task. As you say, 30 seconds on the Baron. Expect down towards this bottom side. Maybe Upset goes in, he goes all the way deep, and exceL were waiting for him! They were waiting for a bit of that action. IgNar gets a great knock about a 5, but it's him who's going to pay for it with his life. IgNar goes down as well. Schalke lose 2, and exceL with the perfect bait in the bush. And Mystiques goes down. exceL just want to reset for the Baron here. They don't even need to push in. They can just get the vision around the Baron and then starve Schalke out.
Because exceL didn't actually kill the members that they wanted to kill. Yeah, they have the jungler dead by the time that Baron is back and alive, but Abbedagge and Upset are still here, as is Odo. So even with just this 3-man, there's still so much bite in Schalke.
And in this brief moment of pause, I just want to stress how important this game is for Schalke. They are sitting tied 5th, 7-7. A loss here pushes them down the table. They will be equal with Misfits. We've already seen Splyce take a game today. We're going to see Origin play up in the next game as well. Every single game counts. And now exceL on the Baron. Schalke do not have a way to react. The Baron goes down to exceL, and Schalke are on their last legs.
3 Barons in a game. We talked about the rinse-repeat cycle of exceL, that they were going to be hyper-reliant on the Baron to push it in, so every single time they gained more and more ground of Schalke.
40 minutes in A 6,000 gold lead still for exceL. You're looking at complete builds all over the shop here. Only Special sitting on the BF sword, waiting for that 5th and final item. Upset after getting that pentakill very early on, has yet to get another kill this game. Still 7-0-4 on the Kai'Sa. And it feels like Schalke may have missed their window, because now with 2.5 minutes left on this Baron buff, exceL can just start to push in.
But what is Upset supposed to do? You look at his two primary engage options, Memento and IgNar, 0-5, 0-7. He needs a team, a frontline, if he's ever going to use the power that exceL gave him off of that pentakill, and Upset frankly never got the opportunity to do it.
And I think if you could exemplify the contrast between first half of the split Schalke and second half of the split Schalke, it would be this scoreboard. 12 deaths, 0 kills on your two main engagers, two main tools to start team fights up for you. Memento and IgNar have very much struggled.
Whereas on the other side, nothing but praise for exceL. I love the fact that they've kind of gone back to fundamental, just clean League of Legends. Caedral in particular, yeah, he's on the Sejuani 1, 3, and 12, so his score does reflect how active he's been in all of these team fights. That makes sense. He's the big AoE ultimate, but kind of the intangibles. He's constantly shadowing underneath his lanes. He's constantly placing down vision. He's constantly opening up exceL to actually play, smarter League of Legends than you would expect from such a rookie team.
Mystiques looking for the hook here, lands onto Memento. There we go, full on engage, but you don't really want to go onto the tank. IgNar gets the push away here, and exceL will just reset. You can tell they didn't want to quite kill Memento. He popped up with a Gargoyle Stone Plate. There's an Elder Dragon on the cards here as well. Inhibitors respawned. Now Jeskla will take this incredibly quickly. Special there as well. Memento maybe looking for the steal. There's a ward in the back of the pit. Memento needs to go in. He tries to get that. He gets the steal. And now Upset's going to tap in onto the back line. Jeskla there gets the damage down, but it isn't enough to work his way through. Upset just sweeps one more Twin Fang. Upset jumped into his demise. And exceL will sweep away Schalke in the river. Odoamne with a good flash away as exceL look for the reset. Miasma comes forward. Special kills IgNar. Now it's a 2v4 in favor of exceL. Abbedagge and Odoamne running for the hills. exceL still on the chase. Special going down towards the bottom lane, just looking to push in the minions. The sleep lands, but Abbedagge cannot get away. Another kill for exceL, and you have to feel that's the death knell for Schalke.
The flash from Expect Him, make sure that he found the CC. They managed to lose the Elder Drake, but surely should win the game, at least take some of these inhibs.
Oh, I think you've got the game from here on out. 11 seconds left on Memento.
What can Odo do?
Inhibitor tower goes down. Odo doesn't have the ult, doesn't have flash, doesn't have a hope. You have to feel against this exceL oncoming storm. This is the first Nexus tower, their target. They will get it relatively rapidly, but here comes Memento trying to stop the party, trying to stop the play. Mystiques doesn't hit the hook. They've got the stun lock onto Odo, though they're not
Just
back.
hit the towers.
The second Nexus tower goes down, and exceL say, we may be out of playoffs, but you still gotta beat us, Schalke.
UK underdogs taking down a wounded Schalke. People were on the fence. Is this Schalke favored with the current trajectory of the team? Is this exceL favored with their current form?
Well, I think it's exceL favored now. Pretty strong performance from them across the board, even after Upset got that pentakill early on, and Schalke very much licking their wounds. 0-6 in their last 6 games. Credit, of course, to exceL, and special credit, I have to say, to Mystiques on the Thresh. Had an absolutely top-notch performance coming in for his LEC debut.
Gone are the days of the Urgot jungle. exceL, I mean, they read the quote on the Analyst desk.
Yep.
You know, we're struggling, we're not finding the synergy, it just feels bad. Didn't look bad there.
No, it didn't look bad at all. They did exactly what they wanted, played to their team's strengths. Even were able to weather some storm coming out from Memento down towards the bottom side early on. Level 2 gank. And it still ended up being exceL who came out on the top. I think if you're Schalke, though, you're wondering what happens, right? You say you want to play through your bot lane. You say you want to get your AD carry ahead. You say you're the better team on the day. All of those things happened, and then still, somehow, exceL come out on top.
Level 2 gank from Memento.
Yeah.
They put everything in Upset's back. He got the pentakill.
Yep.
You look back at kind of the timeline of that game, you're like, Memento ganked level 2. Upset got a pentakill. There's no way Schalke lost this game. Huge credit to Jeskla and Mystique. They went toe-to-toe. They were able to turn around that bot lane, have presence everywhere. Again, Caedral, his scoreline showed, how supportive he was, but if you go back and watch that game, just how he sets up his lanes, how he's able to execute on playing side lane pressure because he's constantly where he needs to be. It's these little things that you don't necessarily see because they don't reflect in a scoreline, which are very impressive. Caedral is the real deal.
He definitely is. We're going to have another look at that final fight. Let's break down exactly how exceL were able to take the win. They were fighting over the Elder Dragon.
Did expect just bow to the cameraman.
You see it, like, as soon as you see the steal, you think, okay, Upset jumps on the backline, he's able to get the damage down, but Jeskla and Mystiques able to step forward and shut him out.
The mentality here is that if we lose Elder, the game's over anyway. We need to plant our feet. We need to look for the fight. So Schalke were between a rock and a hard place. They decided to go for it. Credit to Memento. He did get the Elder Dragon, but Upset flies into the back line and everything gets turned on him.
Exactly. I think if Upset doesn't jump in, maybe you have more of a chance. You kite back, you've got Zoe, you've got the Vladimir there as well for a bit of pressure. Maybe Schalke could have come out on top of that, but Upset saw his superstar moment, saw him taking out 2 players on the backline and then just wasn't able to do exactly what he wanted. For more insight on exceL's win after the break, we're actually going to have Frankie talk with Caedral, the jungler, who I think actually set up a huge amount of success there for exceL.
Yeah, again, it's that intangible, kind of the invisible pressure and power that Caedral provides to his team.
Yeah, if you, whoa.
Whoa.
I started off an entirely different sentence to the one that's in front of me there.
Read the prompter.
Okay, if you got one... I've done it wrong again.
I've got
Can you
one
do it
important
for me?
question for the LEC fans. Who is your key player of the game? Expect Caedral or Mystique. Head over to @LOL Esports on Twitter and vote now.
I read that really well, actually. I'm pretty impressed with myself. Thank you so much.
I agree with the crowd.
I think it has to be Mystiques, right? Mystiques had such a strong performance across the board.
Yeah, and they've also got the 6-man behind them. How many fans do we have for exceL?
That's actually quite a lot. That is quite a lot of fans. Origin had a great return to form in the league so far, but who is their star player? Vedius and Amazing will try and answer that when we return as Origin go up against SK Gaming in a pivotal matchup. Do not miss it. I can't say words. Words are hard, Frosk. Words are hard. Maybe trying to bait IgNar in. There comes the engage because Caedral is waiting around the corner. Great play back. There's the miasma as well. Already the cow going to be stunned up. One more auto is all they need. IgNar down. Burst blood. So much damage coming out of Upset. He opens up his back once again. Abbedagge still doing work here as Upset just cleaning up the fight. Somehow got the triple. Somehow got the penta. The hook lands onto Odo. He gets into the back of the fight though. Abbedagge putting out the damage from the side. They're sitting on a knife edge and they're slicing through exceL. Maybe Upset goes in. He goes all the way deep. And exceL were waiting for him! They were waiting for a bit of that action. IgNar gets a great knockup on a 5. Jeskla there gets the damage down, but it isn't enough to work his way through. Upset just sweeps one more Twin Fang. Upset jumped into his demise. And exceL will sweep away Schalke in the river. And exceL say, we may be out of playoffs, but you still gotta beat us, Schalke.